Welcome to this screencast series about the multidimensional modeling tutorial using analysis services. My name is Alan Ku, and in this screencast we will cover the lesson 1 of the tutorial. So for this video we will be covering the lesson 1 of the tutorial. If you go to MSDN you will find all the lessons 1 to 10. In this case, we will cover the lesson 1. And in lesson 1, we will have 4 main tasks. The first one is creating an analysis services project. The second one is defining a data source. The third is defining a data source view. And we will end this screencast video modifying default table names. So let's get started. This tutorial is focused on SQL Server 2014. But you have to know this is also applicable to SQL Server 2012 and also SQL Server 2008. So most part of the tutorial is the same for all of this version of SQL Server, in this case analysis services. I will be using SQL Server 2012 for these demonstrations. But you can use this in SQL Server 2014 or maybe 2008 R2 with maybe some compatibility tuning, but it's mostly applicable. So here I will open my Visual Studio or SQL Server data tools. For Visual Studio 2013. To build our first project for these analysis services. So here I will go to the File menu, New Project, and here in the Business Intelligence section you will see different type of projects. In this case I will select analysis services, and here the analysis services multidimensional and data mining project. We'll enter the name and create the new solution. And this solution will have all the necessary template and the elements for our new analysis services database. Okay, so following the tutorial, here the first thing that you need to do is to define the data sources. Analysis services allows you to connect to extract data from different sources. So the first step is to create data source. You can do that doing a right click here, new data source, and from here you can follow the wizard. If you have some predefined connection, you will see those connections here, but you can also pick new, and new you can connect to different data sources. You can see here third-party providers, not only Microsoft, and you can also use the ODBC provider or the ODBC providers to connect to different sources, not from Microsoft. But for this case, for this demonstration, I will use, following the tutorial, a SQL Server instance where we have the Adventure World database. If I go to my SQL Server Management Studio, I have already opened here, I have the Object Explorer. In the Object Explorer, I have my SQL Server, my SQL 2K12 instance. It's a local instance where I have the Adventure World DW database that we will use as a source for our new analysis services solution. This database needs to be downloaded from the Codeplex Microsoft SQL Server website. In Codeplex, you can do a search and look for SQL Server databases, and you will download that database, and after that you can attach and put that database into your local instance. Okay, so this is the instance name. I will go back to my data tools, and here I will connect to the local instance. The name of the instance is 2K12. Here I will select Adventure World DW 2012. This is a database in a star schema format, so it's prepared for analysis services project or data warehouse projects. Okay. You can connect to different databases or formats as you saw in the provider list, and that those databases do not need to be in this data warehouse format. But definitely, if you have all the work implemented in a data warehouse or data mart, it will be easier to create an analysis service solution based on that source. Here I will do the OK. Continue the wizard. The wizard asks also for information about the credentials used to connect to the data source. In this case, I will use the service account that is running the analysis services, because this is my laptop and this is just for learning. But in a production deployment, maybe you will select a specific credential for the analysis services connection to the data source. This is the name by default, the data source name, Adventure World DW 2012. Finish. So here we have our first and only data source for this lesson 1, but you can also create or add new data sources, additional data sources. For this demonstration, we only need one, but you can create different data sources and use data from different sources and integrate all that data in our solution, in our analysis services solution. So the second step, we already have the data source connection. Second step is to create or define a data source view. The data source view is like a logical model. It's an intermediate layer between your data sources and your analysis services cubes as a result of this analysis service implementation. And the data source view is a logical model where you can understand more the structure of the data. You can create calculated columns, calculated members. You can do some tuning to your data source model in this logical model, and also you can connect different data sources using the same data source view. So if you plan to create an analysis service solution that will get data from different data sources, you can connect those data sources using the data source view. So in this case, I will create a new data source, following the wizard again. And here we will select the tables from our Adventure World DW 2012 data source. Next, we will select all the tables that we can that we will use for create our lesson 1 video. So here you will see all the tables existing in that specific data source. You have dim tables and you have fact tables. So this is in a star schema format. Following the tutorial, we will need to select the dim customer table. Dim customer. Second one is the dim date, dim geography, dim product, and the fact table is internet sales. So we are creating a specific scope for this tutorial, for this lesson 1, containing the main table. Here will be the fact internet sales, which is the table where we have all the summary information, the numbers, the numerical values. And in addition to that, we have the dim customer, dim date, dim geography, and dim product to give context to those internet sales numbers. you can also hit this add related tables button. So if you press that and your data source has in a relationship between tables implemented, the wizard will import all the tables related to the one selected here. Next, this is the default name for the data source. Finish. Okay, so here we have our first data source view, Adventure World DW 2012. And you can see there are some navigation. In the main area, you can see the logical representation of the table selected in the wizard. So you can see here the fact internet sales. You can zoom in. You can right click, arrange tables. From this view, you can also, for example, right click the table and explore data. This is, in this case, is doing a query to the data source based on the data source view definition. You can understand more your data here. Browse, for example, the bin date table. In addition to that, you have here in the left hand side, you have a preview list of the same table showing in the diagram view. This is a preview navigation. And in the diagram organizer, you can create different diagrams. The diagram is like a view. Instead of having a big, only one diagram containing a lot of tables, you can create different views or sub-diagrams in this data source view. So we have our data source view containing all the tables needed for this lesson 1. The next step in the lesson 1 is modifying default table names. So here, as you can see, using the wizard, the data source view contains all the tables using all the default information found in those tables. But it's a good practice maybe to rename some of the original tables in the data source view. For example, instead of having this fact, the prefix fact internet sales, we can rename this and remove the prefix fact. You can go here to the friendly name, and here I can remove the fact prefix and left that to internet sales. So this is a friendly name internally. Obviously, the original table is fact internet sales, but we will use the internet sales friendly name. And for the dimension, we will do the same. I will remove the dim prefix. I have now geography, customer. I will do the same for dim date. And finally, we'll do the same for dim product. Save all. I can arrange tables again to see the full diagram. And in the table section, you have the same view. So this concludes the first lesson of the tutorial. Next lesson will be lesson 2, defining and deploying a cube. Thank you for watching.